Howdy folks, I'm Handsome, and for the past couple of years, well, ever since this camera came out, I've just, I've done at least 75 to 100 of these throughout the R line, the R6, the R5, the R. The Hotshoes get loose, they bust. There's a couple of reasons why, you'll see once we dig into it. That's what we will be doing today. We will be attacking the Hotshoe of an R6. Let's look at the Hotshoe really quick. I mean, at first glance, you're like, oh, you know, it doesn't even look that bad. That's the Ibis. So, you know what? Let's do what our customers did. And I mean, immediately, you can see the play. I mean, you can hear it, and you can see right there. Clearly, it's not making contact. I don't even need to turn it on and test it. I already know. One thing that I do notice is even when I put pressure down, let's see if I can get up in now. Right there, you see that play right here? I don't know if the top of the Hotshoe is bent a little bit or whatever. So at the end of the day, I'm just going to go ahead and replace it. At first, I was like, oh, okay, it's just loose. But you can only imagine in a shoot, somebody literally is trying to get the shot and finish getting paid. So what they're doing is they're shooting and they're just putting the pressure on and then shooting, boom, 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 boom. So there could be bendage on the top part of the Hotshoe. So we're just going to go ahead and replace it. We're going to get rid of this. Tools of the day are going to be Loctite. I put Loctite in this container, film canister container, because I like to pour it all out in here and then just dip the screw inside of it, and then you will see shortly. One thing I failed to say in the screwdriver video is magnetizing the cross-point screwdrivers that you have, because they do not come magnetized. They actually come with this piece separated, and you have to buy this piece as well. Definitely can buy both of these cross-point tips and the handle on spt.info. Shout out to Chuck at SPT. Magnetizing, boom, shakalaka. You gotta magnetize them screws so you can dip it up in that Loctite. Alrighty. Alright, then we got the straight tweezers. Then we got the curved. Then we got good old plasty. Call this one Pam Anderson. So, this is the replacement Hotshoe. There is your part number. There we go. We are waking up. Alright, so I like to take off the eyepiece first, just because hope everybody's doing well today, tomorrow, or yesterday. That's just a pet peeve, a thing that I like to do. Don't necessarily have to do. I just like that out of the way. Make sure your memory cards are out. Your battery for sure. Man, I cannot tell you how serious that is. We're going to go from the side, the R6 side. No, with the R6, don't believe the R5 is like this, or the R. But I'm going to get all up in there. And underneath the emblem, oh my goodness, screwed up. So we're going to go throw that over here. So you see I have a screw there. Then right here under the leatherette, you have another hidden screw. Very, very serious. You get these two screws that are hidden because you will be tugging and tugging if you don't know. And you'll end up breaking the frame or something like that. And you just don't want to deal with that unnecessary work. Work smarter, not harder. That's why I am giving y'all the golden ticket right now. Be a part of Handsome's history. All right. Then you got some screws hidden up in here. Make sure you remember this orientation, because out of these 4 screws, there is one that is different. And of course, they're all threaded differently, and things of that nature. All right. I'd like to take a second to give a shout out to Swan Dawn for making the soundtrack. I appreciate it, my man. Through thick and thin. All right. So we got these screws out, and then we are going to pop her off like that. And then underneath this cover, there is 2 screws. Pop, 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 pop. You have to take that cover off to get these 2 screws off to take this back cover off. That's just the way it is. And if you don't know that, then you'll keep that cover on, because a lot of cameras, you don't even have to take that cover off to remove the back cover. But on this camera, it's very specific. Now, I've noticed in these R series, these viewfinder screws are in a little tight. So put some pressure down before twisting, and those first couple of twists, don't go too hard, because you will break a blade on your screwdriver, or worst case scenario, strip it and then have to drill it. Nobody likes to drill around electronics and plastic. But hopefully it doesn't have to get to that part. So we are going to take off the leatherette. Once again, grab Mr. Plasty and go underneath, pull the leatherette. Just go ahead and remove it. Once you have done this a couple of times, you can just take the top and that bottom side out and remove the screws. But we are going to do it the correct way. Okay. So we got those. We're going to put those right there next to the leatherette. Just indicating. All right. Then you have some screws hidden here. Yeah, I believe it's 4. If I'm right, I'm going to win the lottery today. Uh-oh, we have 3 and 4. Man, but to win the lottery, you have to actually play it. And I don't. Let's go ahead and get these 4 screws out. Leave them in the orientation that they come out in a line. So reassembly will be easier. And this is just my way of taking the screws out. You can do your own way. Some people do little cubby thingies in their mat. Some people, yeah. My mentor used to just throw it all in a pile and then remember the screws. He was pretty intense. R.I.P. Okie-dokie. We got those 3. And then don't forget, we have our 2 little buddies right here that need to come out and play. So what I like to do is pull this back a little bit. We are going to give a little push right there, right in there with your nail. If you have soft nails, get tough. All right, so here we're going to lift up right here and right here because they're kind of like that. And then on the side where those screws were, those hidden screws, bing bing, every time I come around my city, bing bing, there is a flex cable that is connected to the main board, but it's a good one. And what I mean by good one is it is a push on, so it latches itself in. There's no lock mechanism. It's literally the best ones. You can literally put your curved tweezers or straight tweezers, your choice, and put some pressure on there. Don't press too hard on the opposite side, and then you are able to remove there. So the flex cable I was talking about was this right here, and it sits right in there. So it's actually just a little press on. You'll see more once we reassemble. So now the viewfinder was a little jiggling around. They don't keep that secure except with this. Genius, right? Then there is a flex connector for the viewfinder, and it has a black latch. Now these latches, you can either use your tweezers or plastic. If this is your first time, I would advise using plastic. I just went under, lift up. I don't lift straight up. I lift a little over with it, but not too much because that plastic can break. Then I like to get the curved ones, grab the flex cable, lift up, and then it's out. Sometimes you have to lever that, but this just comes straight out. Viewfinder straight out. Put it right there in front of there. Alrighty, so we have a couple of flex cables connected to the main board that go to the top cover. Now what we're doing is removing this top cover because in essence I need to show you some things to be careful of and Canon's design. So we got this flex cable right here. It is a push connection, so we're going to lift up just like that. And then this one has a black latch. So we are going to lift that latch up, and then we are going to remove the flex cable. Alrighty, so we have some hidden screws. You might as well just go ahead and get out now. You can see that right there. A lot of times I've seen customers bring in their R6 and they couldn't get the top cover off because they didn't know about this screw. Who would have thought Canon would try to sneak a screw where you wouldn't think to look? There are techniques, if you've never taken apart a digital camera and you don't know where screws are, there are techniques you can use. Determine where the screw is without damaging the part that you are removing, and search for that screw without damaging the part you're trying to remove. Because if you take that off, then that will always be a gap there. And dust and particles and things like that. So we're going to take these screws off of the top panel. And then you have two screws in here. Now, I wouldn't really say hidden, but if you've never taken apart a camera, it would definitely be hidden to you. Boom. So we got those out. Now, you can look in there, but I'm 100% sure there is nothing in that battery compartment. We're just going to give a little push, and we're going to remove that. Awesome. It actually looks really good. You can see immediately Canon has put a flex cable here, which is understandable because that's the connectivity to the actual pins of the Hotshoe. But they covered each screw with inactive flex cable. What I mean by inactive flex cable is there is nothing running through the covering of these screws. I've talked to different techs, and some say to bend it, some say to cut it. I usually use an X-Acto knife and just cut, because bending could be pretty bad. So I like to slit one side, and you can see and feel how loose that is. Like, that's not tight at all, and the Loctite they used ain't working. So give a little slit. Now you can't give too much pressure, because if you go too far you will damage the flex cable and the connection part of the flex cable, and then you will just have to replace the whole top cover. Alright, so I just gave each one a little slit. I'm bending just because. There we go. Alright. Got this one. Yiggle. Yeah. So I'm just going to go ahead and replace the Hotshoe itself. The whole thing. Just feel better. I could sleep better at night that I just replaced it instead of tightening them and then literally going to another shoot, throwing the flash on, and then the same thing happened. And I think a lot of the time this gets stripped. Yeah. We are going to get out CG2-6531-000. Anybody can call Canon parts and order it. You just will not get the price that a certified repair shop would get. Wholesale. But anybody can order from Canon parts. Alright, so Hotshoe just sits in there. Alright, here's my Loctite. I like that artwork. So you can see it in there. You put your screw on the, you're going to put the pressure on the Hotshoe. Then you're going to dip. And then if you have a little too much, you can just touch the side, and you can see you're going to dip not the whole thing, but the majority of it into the Loctite. And you're going to put some pressure on that bad boy, but not too much. Enough torque to make your body move. Remember, you're going to dip it in. Did a little too much, so you're going to hit the side of the container. Get as much of that Loctite off. And you want to go straight into the hole. You don't want to touch other things with the wet screw. You're going to dip. I want a little more than that. A little. We're going to do that much right there. We're going to go there, go straight in, smooth, little pressure, A lot of torque. Not twerk, torque. I think, yep, that little cover right there. I'll move you. Get you right there. You can push them little flappy things back down. I would let that sit. I would tell the customer not to use the Hotshoe for at least 24 hours, you know. A lot of people are very impatient though, so that'll be hard for them. Or if it's yours, be patient. Patience is a virtue. So, now it's time to reassemble. Let's go ahead and throw this top cover on. Before I do the flex cables, I just like to go ahead and put in screws. See how I had to line that up right? Everything has to be perfect, literally. There we go. Make sure both of those are tight. All right, so we have all the screws in the top cover, and it is time to put the flex cables in. And let's go ahead and zoom in for that so you can get as much inside as possible. So, see, I'm toying with, sometimes I like to use 2 tweezers. Boom. Pretty sure she is set in there. Boom. And then remember, this one is just a set in. Boom. You can feel it and then it'll click in. Grab the viewfinder. We're going to insert the viewfinder. Tweezer up. Curve tweezer up. We're going to grab like so. And we are inserted. You can see here and here. Boom. And you can pull this like so. And you can use I use my finger sometimes. I mean, you could use plastic. I guess whatever feels comfortable. You can even use boom, boom, boom. I put multiple pressure points on it just because I've broken a couple of those latches, and that's not fun. We are going to be doing a lot of feeling right there. Not really. See how I set that in? Boom. It just clicks in. And then I always make sure I get this set up. That's where we pulled earlier to remove the back cover, and grab a battery. I like to test the connection, make sure everything turns on. We're good, as you can see. Let's go ahead and check the flash, or the Hotshoe per se, since we're there. Boom. We have no play. Get a test lens. Let me know if the flash works. Yeah, looks like it works for me. We're off. Battery removed. Memory card out. And now, all right, so let's go ahead and knock these 2 screws out before I was so amped up on about telling you the hidden screws. Those good old HS screws. Not the JS, the HS. Alrighty, we are going to put that back on. And remember that orientation of screws. You could hope this was in depth enough to where you can have the confidence to do this yourself. Because honestly, if you can do this, then you can do a lot of stuff yourself. Because this is the basic beginning of big repairs on an R6. Or just mirrorless in general. But I hope it was fun to watch and listen to as well. And if it wasn't, then who cares? Alright, we got those in. Of course, if it is a customer camera, then clean it up. If it's yours, still clean it up. I will be making videos about cleaning and techniques, what I use, what you can use, what I've heard other techs use, and all type of stuff. I love camera repair. It's really all I know. When you put that diopter back in, that diopter screw, let me go ahead and show y'all real quick. So you can see, let's separate that. You see the thin piece right here, and then the wide piece right here. And then if you look in here, you're able to see the difference in both openings. And you want to line up the big side on the big side and the little side on the little side, obviously. So looks like on mine, big is on bottom, small is on top. It's usually how it goes in the world and camera repair. And then when you put the screw in, you can test it. It's going to make this noise, and you're going to see the viewfinder. I don't know if you can see it. After that, you can put on the first thing we took off. All right. Put those bottom plates, screws in. I really appreciate everybody watching this, and hopefully, like I said earlier, it is helpful in some form or fashion, or if it shows you that it's something you don't want to do, bring it into your local camera shop, or I guess you could reach out to me. And I guess if you say you watched my YouTube video, I'll give you 15% off your repair if you can find me. or just message me or whatever. I'm not on social media or anything, but if you want me, you'll find me. That's how I see it. All right, and put back your leatherette, and then now you can either clean or go shoot. But I told you what to do. Thank you for your time, and stay positive. Have a great day. Thank you for being yourself, being real, and peace out from Handsome. I want to give a shout out to my daughter real quick. She drew this in school, hummingbird. She knows I love shooting hummingbirds with cameras. A hummingbird killer. But yeah, I had this made so I can put my pens and markers and stuff like that in. Shout out to Nora. I love you, baby girl, if you ever watch this.